in here yet. No one's gotten in. I already give you a couple of seconds to get in here. We're going to be talking about 90 Day Fiancé. This is going to be brought to you from an urban Native American perspective, a mixed perspective, and a secular perspective. So let's talk about it. So did you guys watch it? Oh my God. I was like, my blood was boiling. It was just boiling. Okay. All right, so let's start off with our first couple. First, we had Eve and Muhammad. I don't know if I'm going in the exact order on the show, but so we have Eve and Muhammad. So, everything, Muhammad is already feeling like, oh, okay, I'm this babysitter, whatever. And then she gets someone to come in to install the bidet that she got for him. Now, as you know, I'll say for myself, my husband comes from a culture where people frequently use bidets. But even though he was born in this country, but he's from Japan, or his family's from Japan, he lived in Japan as a kid as well. So they use bidets. You go to Hawaii, they have bidets in the areas where they know they're going to have Japanese tourists, right? So in some cultures, bidets are a common thing. Americans, we typically don't use bidets. So for someone to put a bidet on their toilet for you, that is love, okay? And it's also money, because our toilets are just not set up like that, right? It's not part of the American culture. So she's taking the time and the money to get this into the house so he can feel comfortable. And when the guy gets there to install it, because he can't install it, now he's upset that she's in the room with the guy. Now, okay, these kind of cultural differences, which to me are just, it's insane. I know people do different things in different places, but you know what? This is the States, all right? She's a Native American woman. Native women, we don't come from that kind of culture where women are subjected like we're second class citizens. I mean, it's just not a thing in our culture. And I don't care what tribe you're from, even though some tribes, like I've said before, if this is your first time tuning in, I've spoken before about Eve. She's Apache, right? So I don't know how culturally active she is within her tribe, if she's enrolled. I don't know any of that stuff, but it doesn't matter. But in Native culture, in Native American culture, you have different tribes, right? And a lot of tribes are matriarchal. Now, not all of them are, but a lot of them are. So let's say, even if she's not from a matriarchal culture, it still doesn't mean like it's, you know, you just don't see that in Native American culture where women take a back seat to men. We just don't do it. Like I have to be very honest. I'm very proud that I come from that kind of culture. It's quite refreshing. I'm quite proud of it, actually. So that's probably why I'm so very strong when it comes to mother's line and matrilineal this, matrifocal this, matriarchal that. I'm really into that kind of thing. But it is slightly cultural for me. So I just feel like her coming from that kind of background where, like I said, I don't know, and like I said, I don't know what kind of Apache. Is she White Mountain Apache? Is she Mescalero Apache? I don't know. I really have no idea. But either way, it is not seen, and I've never seen this in Native culture where women are taking a backseat to a man. We just don't do it. So, like, why would you do that? I'm not really understanding. I mean, maybe she just didn't. I think, okay, so we saw, like, when she was having her with her friends or whatever, and they're asking him questions about, like, how do you feel about this outfit or things like that. You want her to change so many things about herself. And you remember when she said, but I don't know if that was a clip for the next season or something, or next episode or something. Her saying something about, I was in a bikini when you married me, or when you met me. I was in a bikini. Right? So she was this liberated, or she is this liberated, independent woman who doesn't feel that she needs to cover herself because, God forbid, some man's going to be offended. That's not our culture. We don't work like that. So I'm just thinking to myself, is it because she doesn't seem like someone who's just going to placate this man for something that makes no sense, right? So does that mean that she thought that because he met her when she was wearing a bikini, that he was a little bit more of an open-minded Muslim guy? Did she think that maybe he's like, maybe more, Western thinking or something like that? I don't even know how to explain it. So I'm just thinking that's what it was because she seems to be kind of surprised that he is so like, oh no, you can't do it. Now, mind you, he does say it. Okay, listen, I'm just gonna, usually when we have guys that have these very patriarchal sort of really misogynistic ideas about women, usually, the delivery is pretty rough and terrible. Now he's so soft spoken, it's almost like, say what? Say it again. You don't want me to what? Not wear what? Like he's so soft spoken and so genteel. Um, it just has me. I'm really confused. I'm just so confused because I really feel like, I do feel he's attracted to her, but like I said, before, I feel like he's a little bit more fluid in his preferences. That's not confirmed. That's all alleged. That's just my perception of it. So I'm wondering, because he seems so fluid, it seems like, well, why would you even care about something like that? But then again, I guess, if he's always been living with his mom his whole life, he's used to women behaving a certain way or dressing a certain way. This woman is older than you. She comes from a very liberated culture. She's a single woman. She's the boss of her life. So you're not going to come in and be the boss. It is, so I'm not sure like where this is going to go. I'm really hoping that she's going to give him the ultimatum of like, listen, either you adapt to this American culture and my Native American culture, as well as, I will adapt some things from your Egyptian culture, but buddy, you're living here. She didn't move to Egypt to be with him. He moved here. So it just kills me like how these guys will, we saw scenes for the next episode with what's his name, Emily and Kobe. Like Kobe's like, oh, why are you being like this? She was different when she was in China and this and this and that. What do you mean I can't drive? I'm the man. I'm the man. Like, okay, you still there? If you're still there, can you put something in the chat to let me know if you guys are still there? Is my sound okay? Am I not frozen? Is everything okay? Or put a thumbs up or something in the chat. Okay, I'm assuming it's okay. So anyway, yeah, I think that some of the guys that are coming here that are expecting to change these women to make them be more like the women in their country, it's like, what is the matter with you? Listen, you are not playing your position, okay? You come here, you want a better life, you want a green card, you want to do all that, you're going to have to zip it, okay? And don't be trying to change people's whole thing. I mean, I understand you've given up a lot and you've moved here, but you're moving to a new place to adjust. So I'm not going to go to, I'm not going to move to, I don't know, Lebanon. Let's take Lebanon, for example. Okay. I'm not going to move to Lebanon and start, dating someone and be like, oh, stop wearing that and stop doing this. And what do you mean you got to pray on Fridays or something? I'm not like, how dare I, right? You're moving to a different country with a different society. So you have to adjust to their cultural norms, whether you find it to be insane or not. If that's, you're making that conscious choice. No one forced you to get on the plane, and what American culture is like. That if he was in Egypt, what are the odds that he would be, seeing somebody on a beach taking selfies, with a bikini? I mean, maybe the odds are high, but from what I understand, that's not very likely. So why are you trying to come here and trying to change stuff up? She's got to worry about how I think her whole thing was like, okay, financially, I'll have to take care of him for a while. And, I'm going to need him to adjust well with my son and his special needs. Right. So I think she was thinking maybe that was like going to be the main crux of the issue, not like, oh, he doesn't even want me to be in the same room with a man. You can't listen, you tell a Native woman that, and she's just going to be like deuces. OK, she might tell you that in her language. So anyway, that is just the whole thing. I mean, and her friends are like, but, what do you think? And I'm so glad she has a good group of girlfriends and not girlfriends that are just going to sit there and sip their cocktails and be like, well, maybe you'll just work it out. As they said, I'm glad they're like, holding his feet to the fire as well. So I don't think Muhammad is a bad guy. I really do not. I just think that he was not raised in a way where he sees women in a doesn't see women on an equal footing. And I mean, I understand he's a product of his culture, but if you left that culture, you're going to have to adapt, because guess what? We do it all, honey. We are strong. We have babies. Our bodies make food. We bleed every month and still go to work and take care of you and take care of this and take care of that. We manage households. We raise children. I mean, women are very, very, very strong creatures. So, like, to try and like dim a woman's light, I can't stand that. That when I was back when I was single and dating, oh, there were certain people I just could not date, honey, because I was like, oh no, there is no way, there is no way, there is no way. But anyway, let me get off my soapbox about that one. So let's talk about oh, Kara and Guillermo. All right. So I kept forgetting his name, Guillermo. So all right, this is not gonna work. All right. Now I feel like more on her end. Guillermo is he's more optimistic and, oh, everything's going to work out and stuff like that, but the thing is that people have no idea when they're coming here, like, how difficult it is. Yes, it's like this dream is sold that, America, the streets are paved with gold and milk and honey and all this stuff, but there's definitely a lot of opportunity here, but you gotta be like, it's just that 1 in 1,000 that can get that work ethic to really pound it out and just hustle for years till they get to the level where they can, elevate. And next thing you know, now they're buying up properties and they own, like they're the example when they go back to their home countries. That takes a lot. And not everybody is cut out for that. So I think this perception of things are so easy, even for Americans who grow up in a, let's say a 2-bedroom apartment. Let's say you grew up with your parents in an apartment, a 2-bedroom apartment, trying to get out and get on your own and get your own place on your own is difficult. It's not easy. There are opportunities here, but it's not easy. And you have to remember, people sometimes will, I think people from other countries can look at Americans and say, God, you guys are so lazy. You're squandering all these opportunities. But if there's not a hunger there, then sometimes people are not going to be that kind of hustler, right? And if you're born here in this country, oh my goodness. Man, this chat is going crazy today. I don't know why it keeps cutting off. All right, I hope we're still there. Is everybody there? If anybody's there, can you give me a thumbs up in the comment section, in the live chat? Can you hear me? Everything okay? All right. So anyway, getting back to that, I think that there's this idea that's going to be so easy. Even people that are born and raised here still, really have to. You got to really, really work. I mean, unless you're just going to live off of the system, and that's not even that easy, because they still make you go out and do work programs and stuff like that. It's just not that simple. And I'm going to get to Biniam later, but they kind of have this like, I understand because they're brand new and it's just like, oh, big shiny houses, oh, these cars. But they don't realize, for people that weren't born into that or had wealth passed down, it's very difficult. And then add to the fact that you're new to a country, you don't have a support system here, and maybe you struggle with the language. He doesn't, though. Guillermo, his English is very, very good. I'm quite impressed with his English. So I don't think that'll be as much of an obstacle for him like it will be for Biniam. But I mean, I don't know that this is gonna work. I mean, and I think she's having regrets. I think she's looking back and going, uh-oh, I got buyer's remorse. I went down to Dominican Republic, I got this little trinket, and now I'm bringing it back home and it's not shiny anymore. I really think, like, she didn't really think this through. And then you're going to have like the pressure of your parents and stuff like that. She's very independent. She's used to making money on her own. And now that she's going to have to be in this sort of like caretaking role, then she's going to have to be making decisions. He's not going to like it because he's not used to having to have a woman tell him that he can't have a computer, he can't take $100 out of the family fund. So this is going to be a mess. I don't know how this is going to work. Do you guys think they're going to work out? I mean, if they really, really worked hard at their relationship, I think they could make it. But if it's just the way that it is now, I don't think it's gonna last long run. I mean, she might get bored. She might go on another trip somewhere and then just be like, okay, well, I'm done with this. All right. So Next, we have Patricia, or not Patricia, Patrick and Thais. So Patrick is, well, they're having their first day, okay, and he wants to have her have like a first nice morning there and everything. And, because she mentions to John, who's basically on, I don't know, whatever number beer he's working on at that point. I mean, he was just like, hey, how you doing? And she's like, come on, like, are you serious? You're drinking already? And he's like, don't be starting in on me. He's just, he's really, I think he's threatened by her presence. I think he has a hard time communicating. From what Patrick is saying, that they weren't, the most, I'm assuming like a very warm and fuzzy kind of family, even though Patrick to me seems very kind hearted and very warm. But his brother, not as much. I don't think he's a bad guy. I just think that, this is not an ideal situation for someone who is, I mean, he's trying to get married to this woman, right? So he's trying to build, and having your brother-in-law there, or I'm sorry, your brother, who is like, it's not a huge house, right? If he's there and he's always around in the kitchen, stuff like that, that can be an issue. And this kind of comes down to like the little outfits that the girls wear in the house and stuff too. When you have another guy in the house, I mean, it shouldn't be a big deal, but sometimes wearing poom poom shorts are not exactly. I mean, you know come on, you know what I mean. So, now they get into, a little bit of a heated discussion because he doesn't, feel appreciated. He doesn't want her calling him out on his, his AM beer drinking. And then, what was I going to say? Yeah, he didn't like the fact that she was correcting him about his, or questioning him about his beer drinking. Oh, and then he didn't also, John didn't like the fact that Patrick was making her breakfast. But Patrick, he just seems to me like the type to kind of spoil his woman. And I mean, listen, if he's okay with it and she's okay with it, no one's being, taken advantage of or anything like that. Why can't he cook a meal for his fiance? That doesn't make any sense to me. So anyway, and he's like, oh, she should be cooking for you. He just reminds me of like, oh God, I knew people like him in New York. People. I don't listen. I don't know that he's Irish. I'm not saying he's Irish, but he reminds me of like some Irish guys that I knew back in New York. Raised in Hell's Kitchen. Some of them, they're just very like very gritty and kind of rough and stuff like that. And always with the drinking, it's too much. Like you can't be drinking like that. But that's kind of part of his immaturity. I mean, it's okay to live with your brother if you guys are equally, contributing or whatever. But if you're living off your brother, that's a whole nother situation. But I don't know what John's contribution is to the household, if any. Maybe Patrick is just a sweetheart about him, just wants him there so bad he'll let him live there for free. Who knows? But later on, they went, what is it, like miniature golfing, and it seemed to be okay. And Patrick confronted his brother and is like, listen, you got to kind of take it easy. You got to calm down. You got to go softly and gently with her. I don't want to scare her away. And, it seems like he's kind of like, yeah, whatever. Okay. But, hopefully they'll be able to work that out where, there's some kind of plan is going to have to be on board, because he cannot continue to live there, especially if he drinks like that. Something's going to happen. Either it's going to be something physical or something, maybe something inappropriate. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't be, you have to be able to control your liquor. So I think at his age and with his brother trying to get married and stuff like that, they need to be living separately at this point. There needs to be a plan in place. And I do agree with Thais about that. Okay, so now we have Binyam and Ari. Okay, so all right, this is another situation. The streets are paved with gold kind of thing. So Binyam, with his little big round eyes, he's just like, oh, looking, it's like, oh my God, this is America. Oh, so rich, so rich. And listen, here's the thing. He really, boy, he cashed in with Ari, because he didn't just marry some American girl, or is about to marry an American girl. Her family has money. I mean, Princeton, all right, that's not like, she it's not like Jabri, living over in the Dakotas, right? This is like seriously like a lot of money. This is a very affluent area. So this is not the regular America. This is literally the wealthy America. And I think it's like it's so crazy that that's his first impression of the United States. So he's just like all struck, wow. And then they decide to go. She wants to take him to the city for the day, or New York City. That Manhattan is not very far from Jersey for people that are not from that area. So they go to New York, and then he's really like, oh my God, this is where I want to be. I want to be an MMA fighter. I want this to be my career. I want to make money from this. And listen, Ari's already so stressed that her mother went ahead and got that 2-bedroom apartment, despite her asking her to please get a 1-bedroom. Ari wanted to live in a freaking studio apartment after what they went through, in Ethiopia. She got used to some different living standards, and she just doesn't want the stress of having that heavy bill. And she has been living outside of the country for so long, she doesn't even have a good work history. I mean, she's got a big gap in her employment. If she were to make a resume or a CV or something, it's just really crazy. I mean, so now she's like, okay, now I got this guy who wants to be an MMA fighter at whatever age he is. He's not trained and all this stuff. Like, she wants him to get a real good job to take care of her and the baby. And it's just a mess. It's like, Ari, girl, this is it's such a mess. It's just like such a mess. I mean, but I think she just, some people say, oh, that's very stupid or whatever. But Ari's just that type where her heart is very open, and she's just like, I don't care. We'll do whatever, kind of thing. And her parents are having to foot the bill. And as her parents, or as she was talking about how her parents have been supporting them, he was like, well, if this is Ethiopia, we take care of family. Family will take care of us. Everything will be all right. We will be fine. We will be fine. And for someone that's coming from the conditions that they showed in Ethiopia to Princeton, of course he's going to think it's going to be okay. He doesn't see people sleeping out on the streets. He doesn't, no one's begging on the corner or anything like that, at least maybe to the areas that they showed on film. So when he gets to New York, he's just like, oh, this is it. This is, you know what? Maybe we should live here. And it's like you can see it's such a child. It's such a babyish, immature way of thinking. Okay, so you move to New York. All right, Biniam, let's go with this scenario. So let's say you move to New York City. So what work can you get? What are you going to do for a living? All right. So let's say 6 months have passed, and let's say now you can drive a cab. Okay. A lot of people start off like that when they immigrate, right, to New York. Or let's say you work in a deli, or you do something like that. Whatever you make will not even pay the light bill in Manhattan. Okay. I left Manhattan over a decade ago, and the rent was $2,500 to $3,000 for a 1-bedroom in Manhattan. That's what it was. That's what it was. So I can only imagine what it is now. He would not make enough money to buy baby formula or Pampers. So she would have to work. So who's going to watch the baby? It's just like his mind is just so, and I see why she's so stressed, because she was stressed in Ethiopia, but she knew that her parents would take care of her there. But now she's here. They're like, oh no, you're going to have to get this together. You're not an immigrant now. You're home, Ari. This is your home. So you need to make this work. So she just listened. Her father is a physician. I don't know if he has his own practice or not, but maybe she just needs to get a little job working with her dad so he can pay her whatever kind of good salary she needs to get to be able to make it work. Biniam, she will just have to take care of him for the rest of his life. Biniam does not come across with his mentality. I mean, I don't know. Things can change. I know things can change so drastically for a person when they immigrate. But and you can come from the bottom and totally make it work. But he just does not strike me. We've been watching him for like 3 years now on on TLC, on 90 Day Fiancé. We've been watching him. He's got like he's got the mind of like a teenager. So he's not gonna, I mean, what's he gonna do? Come on, jeez, this is just, I think she knows this in her, not I think she knows, she definitely knows this in her mind. And she just has had to accept it as, okay, I'm just going to be taking care of this man for the rest of my life. So, she just needs to basically use her dad's position to help her get some employment, set up some little business, and then have Biniam, like, maybe packing, shipping off the boxes, like maybe do an Etsy, or I don't know, some kind of something, because he just can't do like come on, Biniam, it's Biniam. All right. So, all right, that's Biniam. And next week he's going to be sitting down with her family, and they are going to be looking at him like, are you serious? I mean, and he's going to really need to work on his English as well, because his English is quite limited. Okay, so who do we have next? Um, I feel like I'm forgetting somebody. Oh, Jabri and Miona. Jabri and Miona. All right. So Jabri is out for the day. Miona's there. She's doing her laundry. The mom takes a look at some of the clothes, and she's picking up the shirt, and she's like, what's this? Is that for your hair? Because her mom has sister locks, right? So she's thinking of something to tie your hair up at night and go to sleep with, right? And she's like, no, you wear it. It's a shirt. And she's like, oh my God. So the mom is basically kind of letting her know, like, listen, this is South Dakota, people don't really dress like that, and blah, blah, blah. And when you're around the house, I want you to dress decently. Now, I think we probably will have different opinions about this, because I feel as though, yes, she's right. She is right, but it's not good to tell someone how to dress. You know what I mean? Now, I understand that they are under her roof and they have to follow her rules, and I'm totally fine with that. And that's okay. But I do think, like when she's in the house, no, she shouldn't be wearing like booty shorts, or, like kind of like this Instagram kind of look, right? That's not, if she want, like she said, you guys go out, you go to the mall, you go to the store, you wear what you want, but when you're in the house, because I mean, she's married, and, Jabri's dad is not, I mean, they're not that old, right? I mean, his stepdad is old enough that he could be, looking at her, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, just dress a little bit more decent when you're in the house. Um, so I didn't disagree with that about being decent in the house, but there was still something though that kind of felt like very, like, it's not that I didn't agree with her. It's not that I didn't agree with her. It did feel a little bit judgmental, and I don't, and I'm more on the mom side about this, because I feel like Jabri is so immature in the first place to bring this girl over when he knows that he does not have any way to provide for this girl. The band that he was in, I mean, they've been, under lockdown for so long, so he hasn't been generating income from that. And Miona doesn't even want him doing that band anymore, because of all the travel that comes along with that. She desperately wants to live in Los Angeles. And, like, let's say, like, the little tank top she had on when the mom was talking to her. Mahala is right. Mahala, is that the mom's name? So the little tank top she was wearing, like, it wasn't a tank top. It was like cut in like this, like a razor back, a razor front. It was cut in like this, and her headlights were like that. I mean, that is inappropriate to wear in front of her husband, the future father-in-law. It is. It's just inappropriate. Come on, that's too, like, listen, you're not on the gram, girl. Like, just, it's okay to wear a t-shirt around the house. But she's like, TLC's here. I gotta make sure I'm looking good. Gotta get that eyeliner extra winged out. Gotta get that ponytail extra kinky and big and full, and the real I Love Jeannie kind of look. It was just crazy. So, now, on the one hand, now, if it were just those two at home, like, hanging out, and, the dad's not going to be in the house, maybe, but that's like after you get to know each other. I feel like, when you're you're first getting there, you're first getting to know the mom, leave some of the sexy clothes like in the suitcase, and just wear those when you go outside of the house. I don't know. I mean, it was a little judgmental on the mom's side. She did have a point, but it just felt like, overall, you don't want to tell a person how to dress, right? Just say when you're in the house, make sure you dress decently. I mean, but at the same time, she shouldn't have to say that. Like common sense should. But these kids are like they're in their 20s, so she's not really thinking like that. I think the Miona. So now, of course, she tells Jabri about it, right? And Jabri's all upset. He talks to his mom, and his mom's like, well, wait a minute. That's not the reaction she had with me. Well, listen, come on, mom. You know she's not going to go off on you. But of course she's gonna voice her concerns to her future husband, right? And Miona just thinking like this is not gonna work out. This is too I'm not here to be looking at farmland and pastures. I want to get to the city and where I can wear what I want and I can be scouted when I'm walking down Sunset Boulevard. She has dreams of an American influencer kind of goals, right? So, the mom was like, well, if she's not going to talk to me directly, then this is not good. And I don't really support this marriage right now, and blah, blah, blah. And, the mom does seem, she is a little bit in the business, a little bit, but it's like, I mean, I can just understand both sides. The thing is that if Jabri had his stuff together, he would have never had to have moved this girl into this woman's home. So now, Mahala's got to it's not easy to have a stranger come live into your house, and the stranger is going to be marrying your son soon, and they haven't known each other enough time, in your opinion, or at least had enough time face to face, that they should be getting married so soon. They don't have their finances together. You're going to likely wind up be the one who's co-signing and paying and things like that. So Jabri, I understand that he's mad, but what does he have to be mad? I mean, yeah, okay, you don't like it when your fiance is complaining to you that your mom's getting on your nerves, but Jabri is like a little 6-year-old who's having a tantrum because he doesn't want to mow the lawn and he doesn't want his mom telling his girlfriend what to do. Well, you should have had your stuff together before you brought her over, especially knowing how his mom is. If you know your mom is like a no-nonsense kind of mom, and she kind of seems like she is, then why would you even bother bringing someone to live in that situation, right? Because she's going to have to follow the rules and stuff like that. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But I mean, I do understand a little bit both sides, though, I have to say. So now, the last one. Oh, good Lord, is it? Oh my God, Bilal and Shida. Oof. What is going on? What is going on with this man? I mean, he just has so many issues. Like, he should be banned from any, like, I don't know, dating sites. He just doesn't need to be on them. I mean, the trick with the house and everything when he first moved, when she first got there, and trying to like test her, and he's like Mr. Jokester, right? The man who never laughs, who barely smiles, but he's such a jokester. So when she reaches over and does like that to his head, all of a sudden she's being aggressive towards him. Mr. I'm the man, I'm in charge, I'm so strong. But she's being aggressive towards me. I said, if you don't get the hell out of here and grow a set, what is the matter with you? Are you absolutely serious? The girl gives you a love tap. She didn't freaking smack you upside your head. Like, what is wrong with this man? The thing about these shows, like some of these people just really get your blood boiling. Sometimes it's the women, but, usually a lot of times it's these men. And he just wanted some cute little, beautiful, skinny, light-skinned pretzel contortionist Cirque du Soleil woman that he saw on the gram or wherever he met her at, and then he'll have her here and just basically make her life miserable. So he's going to try and do a Muhammad type situation where basically he meets you all sexy and beautiful and this and this and that, but then when he gets you in his clutches, he wants to mold and manipulate, right? So I thought to myself, I couldn't believe when he was like, you know what, I'm gonna pull this car over. If you do it again, I'm gonna pull this car over. And she was like, what? In the islands, that's how we do. Like, it's just like a fun teasing. Like, if you do it with the elbow, he's like, okay, well, I can do elbows I'm okay with, and I'm really a fun guy. I really am. I mean, I really do. I joke around a lot. I'm really, I love to have fun, right? I am hoping so badly that she winds up cursing him the hell out because she doesn't seem to hold back, but she is. I'm sensing some suspension of critical thinking with Shida, because Shida is reading the signs, she's reading the writing on the wall, but she's still like, okay, well, I'm just gonna sit here and I'm just gonna, maybe he'll get over it and maybe he'll still take me on the date afterwards. After all, I could see him, like, because she has listen, when she bent herself into that pretzel, that girl has a dynamite figure. Okay, she has a beautiful body. I can only see him just like having her, like, maybe, telling her to, like, put some loose skirt on or something like that, and like trying to treat her like she's some second class citizen. Girl, listen, Shida, just leave him. I mean, she's beautiful. Listen, I'm a hairstylist, right? That's one of my professions. So, I love hair. I want to see her hair. I want to see the full package because she's beautiful. She really is beautiful, and she has a very unique kind of beauty, right? So I just want to see the full thing. Because when I see the full thing, I could be like, you know what, girl, you do well in Chicago, or we could, you need to go to LA. This is different. I'm saying, like, she could, girl, listen, 90 days, what do you have, like 84, 85 left? Girl, get yourself a whole little makeover, okay, an American makeover. You can still, have your religious whatever, but get yourself a little American makeover, and in 85 days, girl, I guarantee, with that body and that face and whatever's going on with the hair, you could snatch up somebody quick like that, and you wouldn't even have to change your paperwork. You get your whole nother fiance within the 90 days. I mean, why is she hanging out with this guy? I don't get it. Like, is his house that much of a draw for her? Is that much of an incentive to stick around because he has a nice house? Is that even his house? Is that something staged for, like, his real estate company? No, I guess that's his house. I'm assuming that's his house. But I'm just not understanding. So, because he's the type of person that when she gets okay, let's say they get married, right? Bilal is going to hold that purse string so tight because he has issues. Remember, he has issues from childhood. He didn't grow up with that much, from what he's saying, and he came from difficult circumstances. He pulled himself up by the bootstraps, or whatever his little his success story was, and that's wonderful. But because he has so many issues because of that, he's stingy. So you know what it's going to be like when she's like, oh, he notices $300 is missing out of the account. She's going to have to go back and itemize every receipt and do everything. Like, he is that kind of guy. Like, girl, like, are you serious? Listen, and listen, she obviously wants to be with someone who is going to be financially doing quite well. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, that is her business, and obviously he knows that she wants to be with someone who's financially well off. Now, and if both parties are okay with that, then they've agreed. That's okay. But, being with someone who can care for you financially is not being with somebody who's going to be like Scrooge McDuck, holding on to every 5-cent penny because he grew up poor. This guy is such a clown. I'm not even understanding, like, what is the whole draw that she's staying with this guy. He's doing well, but I'm sure listen, he ain't got no Bill Gates money. Okay, you listen, unless you can't be looking the way he does and trying to treat and have that nasty attitude and be trying to dangle some little, oh, I have a good career, I'm affluent in front of. That's not enough. He doesn't have a popping like that. I'm just so sorry. Sometimes you got to know your commodity. Listen, not everybody's going to go to college, not everybody's going to become a doctor, not everybody is going to work for an investment firm. Sometimes you have other things that are your talents. Maybe it's your gift of gab. Maybe it's your intuition. Maybe it's your looks. Use what you got. She needs to use what she's got, and she's wasting it with this guy. Absolutely wasting it. He's going to be so up her butt about every little nickel she spends. Oh, I know guys like him. I really do, that are real cheap and real always trying to test and, always putting you through these obstacles and stuff like that. It's just terrible. She needs to find herself the Trini community, if there is one wherever he lives. And if not, hook up with the Trini community in New York and in New Jersey, make some friends online. I mean, get out of there. What are you doing? Like, are you serious? Because she tapped you upside the head. Now you're all like, oh, I felt I felt it was like a type of abuse. You were being, aggressive towards me. I can't. I just can't. I'm getting incel 100,000 times all day, 6 times on Sunday with this guy. He has issues with women. He probably has issues with his mother. It's so tired. I mean, it's just like, sometimes you see guys like this, they're into that sex tourism type stuff. He's more like trying to be like a what hole, and basically keep everything within the confines of his religion, so he still seems like a respectable man. you know if I mean, God, I mean, look at his wife. Okay, so remember when the wife and Shida met? That was a decent introduction. I mean, the girl. I mean, they could have been cousins. I'm not saying they facially looked exactly alike, but there's definitely a look there, and he has a look, and I think he's very. I think he's very shallow. I think that he just wants what he considers to be dime pieces, like people that have really really amazing faces, but he's not, who always take care of themselves, but he's not willing to work on himself, like his inner core that he needs to work on. I'm glad that new wife moved on and got her a new husband, honey. But that was kind of weird, like him just kind of leaving her off to the side when they were at the mosque. And oh God, Shida, please, 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 please. I hope she does what was her name? Larissa, remember the one from Brazil? Boy, Larissa traded in old Coty and got hers, or what was his name? Cody or something like that word. Colt. She called him Colty, right? She traded him in and got herself a new model, honey. And you can do that within the next 85 days, girl. Get you somebody else. Like, just don't waste it. I mean, oh, just don't waste your opportunity. At least, if nothing else, make sure you find that Trinidadian community so you can meet other people that can help you kind of navigate what you're going through, because it has to be very isolating. And you're dealing with, that's why, it's just like a lot of this stuff comes down to religion as well. And I'm just, you guys know I'm not a religious person, because things like that, it makes a person, especially religion tends to make women think that they have to stick in there and they have to hold out and just hope that this man will change, or hope he'll come around, or it's I just don't like it. But anyway, that's their choice, that's their life, their lifestyle, whatever. I hope that, because she seems to stand up for herself most of the time, that she's just not going to settle for this relationship. Jabri and Miona, I think they can make it work if they move out. But she's going to realize real quick that the struggle is real when she has to start working. But I don't want to see them to break up. I just want to see them out of their mother's house. Bilal and Shida, I do not want to see together whatsoever. Emily and they weren't on this weekend, this weekend, because it came on Sunday. Emily and Kobe, I don't think that's going to work either. I really don't think that's going to work. It's just like, you have these, when people come over and they have like their standards of how, especially when you're talking about gender standards, right? They have these standards from their country, and then they come to the States, and the same thing that you loved about this woman, her openness, her willingness to probably have sex with you when someone in your country wouldn't have done it, or wouldn't have done it without marriage, or wouldn't have done it without dating for several years. This ease and this openness that you love about American women, when you get to the States, all of a sudden you want them to be like these little shrinking little violets. I don't get it. I don't get it. I just don't get it. It's a wake-up call though. So ladies, please, PSA, okay? This is my service announcement. Use your mind, use your critical thinking. Do not suspend that in a relationship. Don't get lost. Don't lose yourself in a relationship. When you see that is not right, when you see that as a personality thing, you are not there to fill, you're not there to build or to fix a man, okay? certain things can be, you can have compromise with, like Patrick. Okay, that's a good example. Patrick and Thais, right? Some people will try and give them shade because they're like, oh, these women from Brazil or from Russia, they're always coming over and try. Forget all that. Listen, they are two people. They definitely love each other. Now, I am not saying that there's not opportunity and stuff like that, but she's very close with her family back in Brazil. And she's not from, like, the bottoms, she's just, there's just more, I guess, here, a little bit more. I guess well, in terms of Patrick, maybe there's a little bit more wealth, in his world than what she's used to back home. But she's not, taking a bath in the river. Okay. She's a beautiful girl, right? They love each other. They have a chemistry, but they have things that they have to work on. But it's not like fundamentally she's just messed up and fundamentally he's messed up, right? They just have to kind of find certain areas where they can compromise, right? That's different. Bilal is messed up. You can't fix that. Go home, Shida, or just get you somebody else in the next 85 days. So, listen, that's about it. I don't know what else to say about these couples. We'll see next week what happens. I hope she does just give him a real good, good elbow nudge that gets him, in tears. Oh, I feel so offended. Oh my God. Oh, he's just such a whiny little. Anyway, all right, guys. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Please turn on your notification bell. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I put out videos twice a week. I'm currently also doing what's it called? Love Match Atlanta. I'm about to go live in about maybe 5 more minutes. I'm going to do that one next. I am still doing the courtship, which is on the USA Network, and I'm still doing Married at First Sight. So there's a lot of stuff for you guys to dig in and watch all my craziness online. So that's it. Please stay safe. Take care. Thank you so much for tuning in. And JP Salacho.